Ondu Motteya Kathe. I remember I was in my PU. I bunked classes, waited outside the theater. Not even rush. It was about I wanted to watch it so much. I'm waiting outside the theater for it to open and give me the tickets.
Oh, nice.
So to catch the first
Which
show.
theatre you watched?
Mysore Lakshmi Theatre.
Oh, okay.
My whole gang, the last three benches of the class, don't do that, people. Last three benches of the class, we bunked classes and we went there. We were sitting there for half an hour. We watched the film, and that went on to get remade in Bollywood. It's a small budget film. It made very nice money given the budget it started with, and then went on to Bollywood as well. So that was your first film. So what do you think about that?
I didn't expect that at all. I didn't know that people would come and buy it in Malayalam and do it in Bollywood. I didn't have that anticipation at all. For me, my producer had 25 lakhs. So I need to save him. These are the two things that I had. So I had to write comedy. But it shouldn't be, in contradiction with what I like. Because I had to laugh first. If that's comedy, I had to laugh. Then I can write. So every time I write an emotional scene, I will cry. Every time I write a comedy scene, I smile or laugh. If that doesn't happen, I can't write at all. Because I am the audience. If I need to, hey, this is good. Okay. And I'll be talking. Most of the time when I'm writing, people shouldn't come in that radius at all. Because I'll be talking to myself. I'll be talking to the character. I'll be telling the dialogue. I'll be doing certain things. So I never expected that to be remade in other language. It remade, unfortunately, because of that, we got a little money, which made us survive till Garuda Gamana.
Because BJP is in power, why Kantara made that numbers, or it's a Hindu propaganda movie. So, from a writer's perspective, if that is your story, how will you take comment like this when it's becoming so political?
I cannot comment about Kantara at all because I haven't written for it. But I would speak about Garuda Gamana. People coming and telling that, it's like, comments are comments. We get disturbed by it for sure. For example, Garuda Gamana, when it released, Mahadeva's song, some portion of the people started telling that, okay, it's an insult to, Male Mahadeshwara. And some people started telling that it's a Hindu propaganda. I'm like, wow. You both should sit and debate, because some person is getting disrespected because it is a disrespect to Hindu religion, and the other person is telling that it is actually glorifying Hindu religion. I'm like, I was not in both. So it was a story for me, that's all. Even that Devi Mahatmya was a story for me. I wanted to explore that story. And then I'm like, okay, people can see the same thing in two different lights. So they can see, there is no problem in it. Let them see. Now I think I'm much more relaxed in that aspect because I don't mind it.
Okay, so it will not affect your...
Now it might affect a little lesser. Okay. So when it happened, I was shocked. I'm like, how can you see the same film? And then I was telling right wing and left wing, they both hate this movie, equally. I'm like, okay, then we made a neutral movie. Because I'm not into politics at all. I am not for any party, not for any politics. Anything that divides, I'm against it. That's all.
Another thing is about the films. Rakshit with Tulidavaru Kandante, he created a certain amount of buzz and fame for Tiger Dance. And then in GGVV, you reintroduced it again. And the feel for both the dances are completely different.
Yeah.
But then yet it got the same amount of love from everybody.
Correct.
How much do you love Tiger Dance? Because many events, many videos we've seen.
Very much. I think that is, that is the joy of a person from that culture to do any dance that belongs to a, folk form or cultural form. Like in Bangalore, we do Annama dance, which I love. Because a human being can be so free, and it's not about expression, it's about throwing your expression. Look however you look, you don't mind, you just dance. In the same way, Hulivesha in Udupi has a beautiful poise and rhythm to it. And Hulivesha in Mangalore has a little more aggressiveness and energy to it. So when Ulidoru Kandante came, though it was so beautiful. And when Garuda Gamana came, it was so machoistic. So the difference was there. There was a difference, and there was a treatment difference was completely, different. So that's what I'm saying. Like, when you speak about the same culture, you can tell it in 1,000 different ways, and every way is a beautiful way. I don't know, like even if somebody gives me a Hulivesha sequence now, I can write it in a way where it doesn't match to Ulidoru Kandante or Garuda Gamana, but still it can look something else.
So now that you mentioned about writing, sometimes what happens is that if you are the writer and director, if it's a separate, like, they are two different jobs. In general, people say writer and director, but when you look at it, they are two different jobs. Do you feel like personally there is overflow of writer and director? Sometimes, you write the scene and you're like, I want the scene to make it to the final cut. And you direct it. And then, you make sure that it, and maybe audience response might be, hey, this was unnecessary or something. So, what do you think about that overflow, writer-director overflow?
It didn't happen to me because, most of the time, whatever I have written, I have shot the exact amount of the movie. I haven't cut a scene and thrown it at all. So, for example, my actually writing is very short. Most of the people even doesn't write short film in that length. Garuda Gamana was 64 pages script. And I know people who write 120, 130, 200 pages of script, and most of the things doesn't make into the final cut. And Garuda Gamana was 64 or 68. Swati was 43. So Toby was 80, 84. So I always write short so that I have the space to explore things in the montages, in the silences, in the face, in the walk and everything. I don't fill it with paper. Finally, I know as a writer, I never use dialogues to such lengths that, for example, Garuda Gamana doesn't have even a page of dialogue to Shiva in the entire film. But it is the most loved character of that film. So in that sense, you need to understand that I don't write too much. I write the subtleties of it. I write the subtleties. I have the sense of how to make him look because I'm also the actor. So this helps me to write better because I'm the writer, because I'm the director, because I am the actor. I know how much I can achieve the same thing in acting, how much I can achieve in the same thing in the shots. And that's the reason it's much more easy for me to write. It doesn't overflow, it actually curtails.